Hello everyone, Jeff here with you for episode number 42 of the Wednesday Night Wrestling Blitz here on YouTube. This is a GMTE Express add-on exclusive as we have AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT going head-to-head once again this week. Let's get right into the action here with AEW Dynamite first. It took place from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. This was taped back on July 30th. Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Taz once again filling in for Excalibur. And of course, we pretty much all know the reason why Excalibur was not on the broadcast once again. They opened up with the 12-man tag team match. We had the Elite and FTR taking on the Dark Order. Of course, the Dark Order here was, of course, Colt Cabana, Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, Dark Order member number 5 and number 9. So, just back and forth action here. Both teams getting their stuff in. The Elite was showing the best of the tag team chemistry. At one point, FTR had delivered the demolition decapitation move onto Grayson, but Hardwood appeared to have injured his knee. We see the ringside traitor Cash Wheeler and Hangman Page help Hardwood to the back, so they're down short-handed for a while here. So the heels take over here, the Dark Order takes over for a while. And then Page eventually does make his return just in time to get the hot tag from Matt Jackson. He just runs wild here, lays waste to everyone here. Brody Lee eventually ended that run when he caught him through the ropes and then hit a big dive through the ropes and wiped him out on the floor. Colt Cabana eventually tagged in and nearly got the win on Page, but then Omega broke up that fall. We had a 450 splash corner cannonball by Grayson and Uno that did not keep Page down. The Bucks returned to the match and then they hit their big super kicks, including one to Brody Lee right into a Snapdragon suplex by Kenny Omega. Brody Lee was able to recover, however, and ultimately nailed a big clothesline and got the win for the heels here. So the heels get the win here. This 12-man tag team match, though, it was better than what I thought it was going to be. I'm not a big fan of 12-man tag matches, 10-man tag matches, unless it's like an elimination style type match. They did take FTR out of the equation. I guess that protects them here because the heels got the win, so they weren't around in the end, so they're kind of protected that way. The match was okay. It was better than what I thought it was going to be, but I'm still not a big fan of 12-man tag team matches. Next up, we have more tag team action here. We had the Best Friends taking on Santana and Ortiz. Chucky T here and Beretta were in action here. There's back and forth action. The babyfaces rolled on here for a while here, and then eventually Santana grounded Trent and then applied a single leg Boston Crab. And then Trent was fighting back. Santana sent him crashing back into the guardrail. And then, they continued to work on his back. Trent created separation and finally got the hot tag into Chucky T. And then, he hoisted Trent onto his shoulders and in an electric chair spot. The Best Friends eventually brought Ortiz crashing to the mat with a big suplex. And then looked like Santana and Ortiz were setting up for the street sweeper, which was their finisher. But then Chucky T blasted him, and then ultimately Trent was able to score a roll up here, and they actually got the win. So the babyfaces get the win here. A bit of a surprise, I think. Best Friends beat Santana and Ortiz here. A little bit of a surprise to see Santana and Ortiz lose this match, but ultimately they would get some payback because later on we would see outside in the parking lot area they had destroyed what was to be the Best Friends' mom's Honda van there. Proud and powerful here, Santana and Ortiz. They really just laid waste to this fan. I get what they were going for here. The one thing that got under my crawl a little bit, they had a camera, conveniently inside the van here. That to me just kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit because it just comes off as too perfectly planned. I didn't really need to see that, but I get what they were going for here, and it, told a message, but just a little things like that just kind of gets under my crawl a little bit, but. Again, surprised to see the Best Friends win here, but obviously this is going to continue on. So then we saw MJF. He was showing off his headquarters. This is a follow-up to his great thing that he did last week here, hashtag MJF 2020 and all that. He showed off his headquarters here, showing that he's the dictator and all that, and of course, I guess the goal was to make the one female person that we saw there in the headquarters smile. I guess that was kind of the running gag here. But this was good stuff here from MJF again. Once again, just continues to do some of the best work of anybody in all of professional wrestling right now. So then we saw Matt Hardy. After this was done, Matt Hardy took to the ring. He was out for a promo here. He says that fans want him to focus on being himself, the unlikable one, so he would. He puts over Private Party as a young tag team, reminiscent of him and his brother, though he never mentioned his brother's name. We all know it's Jeff Hardy. Then he recapped his issues with Sammy Guevara, and then Sammy Guevara tries to do a sneak attack. Hardy caught him, and they started going at it here. We got a big brawl accumulating with Hardy pummeling Guevara and slamming him into the timekeeper's table. He went for the big table and set up for the twisted fate. Guevara sent him into the steel post and then laid him out on the table. He threw a chair at him, and then unfortunately, I don't know if this was planned or not, he busted Hardy's head open with one of the legs. I don't know if that was planned, if that was an accident, but it made for a great visual. And then Sammy Guevara with this big dive off the stage. Hardy was still on the table, and he nailed Hardy. They went right through the table and left him laying. So, good stuff here from Guevara. The blood added to it, whether it was done intentionally or not. But it was still a great visual. I thought this was very good stuff here as they continue to promote their upcoming match here going forward. So this was really good stuff here. More tag team action was up next here. We had Cody Rhodes and Matt Cardona, of course, the former Zack Ryder at WWE. They're teaming up here to take on John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order here. This is not a TNT title match, so this is really the first time in quite a while we did not have a TNT Championship match here on the program. Cardona and Cody rolled early on. This was Matt Cardona's official debut here as far as match action in AEW. Eventually, we had a miscalculation on Cody's part. He was nursed at a rib injury while he was being taken apart by Silver and Reynolds. They picked away on Cody for a while, just continuing to beat him down. They cut the ring off in half, and then they just controlled it for a while, and then ultimately Cody struggled to break free. Silver then teed off on Cody with a barrage of kicks before Cody was able to recover him with a snap power slam, and then we saw Cardona finally get the hot tag. He was a house of fire here. He nailed Reynolds with a double underhook powerbomb for a near fall. Cody was still hurt. The Dark Order momentarily got back control. Silver and Cody fell over the top rope to the arena floor. Then we had Cardona in Reynolds left in the ring, and Cardona hit the radio silence on Reynolds and got the win for the baby faces here. So they get the win here. This was good. This was a showcase for Cardona and Cardona, I should say. And obviously, they gave him a win here in his first match in AEW. Of course, getting the rub by teaming with Cody here. Good stuff here afterwards. And then as Cody and them are going to the back, we see Scorpio Sky show up in the tunnel there. Yeah, he basically put his hands on the TNT title. So basically, you know that next week's program, we are getting Scorpio Sky and Cody Rhodes for the TNT title match. So that's what we had there. The match was fine. I didn't really have a problem with it. So now it was time for the big debate here with Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. Of course, the big hook was who was going to be the mystery speaker here. Who was going to be the mystery guest moderator, if you will. It was spoiled. Everyone pretty much knew who it was going to be. It turned out to be true, and it was Eric Bischoff here. Whether Conrad Thompson had anything to do with this or not, I don't know. And I don't know if this is just a one-off or if Eric Bischoff's going to be around for a while. So Bischoff wound up asking 5 questions here in this type of debate here. Bischoff's first question was, why do Jericho and Cassidy hate each other? Jericho criticized Cassidy's attire by basically... then you had Cassidy clipping on a black tie here, and then Jericho called Cassidy a ginger jackass and blasted him for being a disrespectful joke of a wrestler. Bischoff's next question was, who is the better wrestler and who is the bigger star? Jericho talked about all of his accomplishments once again, and then took a shot at Cassidy's looks. And then Cassidy didn't respond, by the way. And question 3 was, what are your thoughts on global sea level rising? Jericho would refuse to answer, but Cassidy, he gave this big informative statement on the issue here, so I think that caught a lot of people off guard. I guess people like that there, so. Number 4 was, why is Orange Cassidy so popular? Jericho said he's a reflection of the smart marks at home, and reminded his opponent that when he loses on next week's program, he will owe him $7,000 for his orange juice stained jacket, and then Cassidy did not respond. And the final question from Bischoff: what does this rematch mean so much to both of you? That was his question. Cassidy actually interrupted Jericho, telling him to shut up, and he actually started talking here. He actually I thought this was a very good promo here from him. He says, quote, "You scheduled a debate against a guy who doesn't talk. You're trying to embarrass me. I'm not embarrassed. I don't care. I do care about the match next week. It's the biggest match of my career, but it's also the biggest of yours." Well, I don't know about that. But anyways, he went on to say, "What happens if Jericho loses to a guy who puts his hands in his pockets?" So Cassidy did take off his sunglasses, and he also went on to say, "I want you to look into my eyes of the man who will embarrass you next week." He did declare that he will beat Jericho's next week. We'll see. Bischoff declared Cassidy the winner for, I don't know why here. Jericho went in on Bischoff, saying that he hates Bischoff for the 22 or 24 years that he's known him. So they played up the history there as well. And then eventually Jake Hager, after Jericho prompted him, he went in and nailed Orange Cassidy. Hager sent Cassidy right into the Juice Effect and then left him out here. So the best friends finally came out to make the save here, and Jericho and Hager were gone, but the damage was already done here. So I thought this was a good setup to their match for next week. I'm still on the fence about the match itself. We'll see where it goes, but it is what it is. But overall, I thought this was not too bad. Next up was Big Swole. She's back off from suspension here. Britt Baker had asked Tony Khan to get her off suspension. He listens. So Big Swole took on Reba. Of course, that's Rebel. This was not a very good match. Basically, Big Swole, this was just a complete squash here. Reba, or Rebel, just struggled here, and then ultimately she succumbed to Dirty Dancing, and Big Swole got the win here. This was not very good. I don't know what was really accomplished by this, but we had that. Your main event for the night was for the AEW World title. We had Jon Moxley, defending that title against Darby Allin here. Darby Allin, Moxley controlled it early on. He just had his way with him. Allin made the comeback, caught Moxley, and got him through the ropes. He hit a tope suicide through the bottom ups, took out Moxley with that. And then Darby Allin just went on the right hand of Moxley, just went in on that for a while. Allin followed up with a code red for a near fall. Eventually, we see Warlord appear. He got on the apron to distract the referee. MJF rolled into the ring, nailed Moxley with the AEW title, and escaped. Darby Allin did not know what had happened. He launched himself off the top rope, hit the coffin drop, but Moxley still kicked out. And then, of course, he's all busted here. Moxley struggled to regain his form here, and then another coffin drop. As Darby Allin was going to go for that, Moxley caught him, and then he put him to sleep with a choke. And then once again, Darby Allin was able to kick out, and then Moxley hit this big power driver. It still kicked out, and then ultimately Moxley hit the paradigm shift in the end and got the win to retain. This was good stuff. This was better than their last match here, but obviously the outcome was never in doubt here. So clearly we are getting MJF and Jon Moxley at All Out for the AEW World title. So this was good for what it was, I thought. Pretty good stuff here, better than their first match. So that was AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. It took place from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Let's get on to WWE NXT. It took place from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. This was taped earlier in the day on Wednesday. Mauro and Beth were calling the action from their homes, respectively. Tom Phillips was in the arena. They opened up with the number one contenders match for the NXT Women's title. We had Rhea Ripley taking on Dakota Kai. This was a great match here. Rhea Ripley, she dominated on Dakota Kai for a while. Dakota Kai was able to fight back. She wore Rhea Ripley down for a while. We had the KO kick in the quarter. Dakota Kai set up for a finisher, and Rhea Ripley fought out of it, but the referee was distracted, and then we saw Mercedes Martinez, for reasons unknown here. She nailed Rhea Ripley here, and this ultimately set up Dakota Kai to hit her GTK off the top rope, and actually got the win here. A bit of a surprise to see Dakota Kai beat Rhea Ripley, so she is the number one contender for the NXT Women's title here. So it looks like once we saw Martinez lay out Rhea Ripley once again afterwards to make a big statement. We're getting a Mercedes Martinez Rhea Ripley program. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. This was a great match. I was not a big fan of the ending here. I did not need to see Mercedes Martinez get involved in this, because she had really not been involved in any of this up until now. So that's what we had there, but I thought the match was very good overall. We had Bronson Reed and Shane Thorne in action here next. This was a showcase for Bronson Reed. Shane Thorne, this was his return to NXT for the first time in a while. He did good. He got his offense in on Bronson Reed for a while. Ultimately, Bronson Reed eventually just hit the Death Valley driver late in the match and then hit the big splash off the ropes and got the win here. So Bronson Reed continues to look strong here. This was what it was. This was a showcase for Reed, and I thought it did a pretty good job. Shane Thorne was a good guy to work with here. We had a NXT North American Championship qualifier match here, triple threat style. Damian Priest, Oni Lorcanen, and Ridge Holland from NXT UK are in this match here. Good stuff here. Holland got a chance to look good early on. He used his strength to throw around Damian Priest and then set up a power struggle between them. Oni Lorcanen, he came out, he did his chopping. He chopped on both guys. Holland looked good here, but then ultimately we just saw Damian Priest. He took him out of the equation, and he ultimately hit the reckoning on Oni Lorcanen and pinned him and got the win here. So Damian Priest will be moving to that ladder match for the North American title here. Not a big surprise. This was the expected outcome. This was, I thought, a pretty good match for what it was. We did learn later on in the program that Dexter Lumis was injured in his triple threat match and will not be in the ladder match now. So there'll be one more triple threat match followed by a pair of singles matches between the men who were not pinned in the triple threat matches to determine the final two men after that. So, of course, there's going to be 5 guys in the match. Later on, we saw Priest being interviewed outside. That the whole tournament was made for him. Bronson Reed confronted him outside, and they are going to have a match on next week's program. So we'll look forward to that. Keith Lee and Cameron Grimes here was up next here. This was non-title action. This, Keith Lee here, this went way too long for my liking here. Keith Lee, I think this went more than 15 minutes if I'm not mistaken. This should have been a squash, maybe 3-4 minutes tops. Keith Lee, he just struggled with Cameron Grimes here. I know Cameron Grimes is a decent wrestler, but this should have been a showcase for Lee here to win in a couple of minutes. He ultimately did win in the end here. He finally hit his big Spirit Bomb, and this was an impressive Spirit Bomb he did in the end to finally put away Cameron Grimes after a long struggle here. Afterwards, the lights went on. Karrion Kross, or Killer Kross, or Karrion Kross, whatever you want to call him, appeared on the screen. He told Keith Lee that he will do what is needed to be done to get his title shot. So we're clearly getting that, and it's probably going to be an NXT TakeOver 30. We see Legado del Fantasma, and we saw them ambush Breezango on their way to the arena and then threw him into their van. And then later on, once we came back out, the members there dragged Fandango out from the back here. Santano's Escobar, the former King Cuerno and Lucha Underground, taunted everyone as Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde laid out Fandango in the ring. Tyler Breeze did try to come out to make the save, but he was laid out as well. And then Escobar, of course, warned Isaiah Swerve Scott that he would be next if he kept talking about the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. So that seems to be the direction they're going in. We're going to get a match here with Santano, Escobar, and Isaiah Swerve Scott. So that should be pretty good, actually. Next up, we had Tegan Nox taking on Indy Hartwell. Pat McAfee joined commentary ahead of the match here. He told Tom Phillips that he put his feud with Adam Cole behind him. So, we'll see if that's true or not. Spoiler alert, if you already watched, you know the answer is no, by the way. So they had this match here. This was a showcase for Tegan Nox here. She got an easy win here. She dominated here. Tegan Nox just hit her shiniest wizard after a couple of minutes here. Well, Indy did get some offense. This was a showcase for Nox, and then she got the win here, and she just got back on the winning track here, so we had that. Your main event for the night was for the NXT Tag Team titles. Here we had Marcel Bartel and Fabian Neitner of Imperium defending the titles against the Undisputed Era. Of course, that is Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, I believe. Yes, it is those two. I just want to make sure I had the right names there. So Pat McAfee was still in commentary for the match. Adam Cole constantly gave him looks as the match was going on. He was still annoyed with him, even though they had, quote, buried the hatchet in their, quote, feud. Roderick Strong had to tell Adam Cole to focus on the match many times as this was going on. The match itself here, this was very good stuff here. Once Marcel Bartel got the hot tag, the action just really got going there. And then both teams just went back and forth here with no breaks. Lots of good action here from these teams. And then just, I hated the finish here. Ultimately, because Adam Cole could hear what Pat McAfee was saying on commentary, they were right nearby. Adam Cole eventually lost his cool on McAfee and threw water from a water bottle at him. Kyle O'Reilly was distracted, of course, and that allowed Imperium to hit their powerbomb, spinning uppercut combo for the win here. So they retained here. They had this big pull-apart brawl here with Adam Cole and Pat McAfee. We saw Shawn Michaels and Triple H and officials all coming out here. And then afterwards, we saw, Pat McAfee, who is a former NFL Pro Bowl punter. He actually delivered the punt kick and laid out Adam Cole with that. So that's how they went off the air, with Pat McAfee being escorted out of the building. So it looks like they're setting up for, and God knows I do not want to see this, they are setting up for an Adam Cole-Pat McAfee match in NXT TakeOver. Now, clearly we know why they're doing this. This is a PR move. This is a move to try to get people to talk about NXT and try to beat AEW in the ratings. That's all this is. I do not want to see an Adam Cole-Pat McAfee match at NXT TakeOver. Nobody's interested in that. I'm not interested in that. So that's how they went off the air. So that was NXT that took place from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. Let's very quickly get on to the numbers here for the week. Once again, AEW Dynamite beat NXT in viewership and in ratings. AEW Dynamite won it this week in viewership with 901,000 viewers. NXT did 753,000 viewers. The 901,000 viewers for AEW is their best number since March 14th, which was the post-Revolution episode of Dynamite. And for NXT, the 753,000 viewers is their best number since July 8th, which was week 2 of the Great American Bash. AEW Dynamite did a 036 in the 18 to 49 demo, which is their highest number since February 8th. So they won that pretty handily. NXT did a 020, which is their best number since that July 8th episode as well. AEW won in all the demos this week except 50 plus, in which NXT won. Other than that, AEW won all the demos pretty handily. AEW did come in number 5 for the night in the demo, while NXT was 27th. AEW was 58th in viewership, and NXT was 64th. The NBA on ESPN topped the night in the demo with a 0.51 rating with 1.193 million viewers. Sean Hannity's show on Fox News Channel topped the night in viewership with 3.968 million viewers, coming in 6th for the night in the demo with a 0.34 rating. Big Brother on CBS topped the night in viewership and in the demo with 3.972 million viewers and 1.1 rating for the first hour of Big Brother. So with AEW winning the viewership battle once again this week, AEW now has 35 wins, NXT has 8, and we have the 1 tie. My pick of the week this week, it's pretty clear cut here. It's AEW. They were the better show from start to finish. I thought their matches, as far as presentation, the quality, and everything was better than NXT. NXT wasn't terribly bad, but like I said, the ending here at the show, at the end of the show here with Pat McAfee and Adam Cole, probably setting up a match for NXT TakeOver. I am not interested in that, and like I said, we all know why they did it anyway. So AEW is my pick of the week. I thought they were just a better show. So through 42 episodes, I have NXT with 23 picks and AEW with 19 picks. Let me know down in the comment section below what your favorite moment from Wednesday's wrestling action is, and if you agree with me. We'll see you the next time in the next Wednesday Night Wrestling Blitz on YouTube. Bye for now, everyone.